This is a video about a mobile Dawless synthesizer setup, and this is a power bank made by Anker. It can power up to 3 USB-powered devices at a time. This will empower me to bring some USB-powered tools. What else will I need? This is an Sq1 by Korg. It's already powered by its own 2 AA batteries. It will be controlling the Korg NTS1, which is the first device to borrow power from the bank. Next we have the PO12 Rhythm by Teenage Engineering. It also comes with its own battery, a single AAA. The PO12 will be serving as both the drums and the master sync for this setup. Which reminds me, I got something in the mail the other day. The Beatsplitter and the MickXer. These will make the setup possible for different reasons. They both came from Myvolts.com, with whom I'm completely unaffiliated. The Beatsplitter is here. It came in this blingy dime bag, which is fun. What it does is, it allows me to split the signal coming out of the PO12 into a clock signal and an audio signal. And this is the MickXer, or rather the MickXer in the box it came in. In this case, what it will do is allow me to passively mix the audio signals of my various synthesizers into a single audio output. This output will go to my recording device, which I'll talk more about later. I mean, no surprises because you've seen the thumbnail, but still. Anyway, this is the Nymphes by Dreadbox. It's a 6-voice polyphonic analog synthesizer. I'll be powering this with the power bank. I was pretty excited to find out I could power the Nymphes with the power bank. I didn't notice any noise issues, and I'll also be controlling it with the Arturia Keystep, also powered by USB. It would be neat if the Keystep could be natively battery powered, but I'll take it. Now, I'm planning to take this setup onto the train with me, onto the G train to be exact, so working out any kinks before I do that is ideal. A lot of my decisions behind doing this setup were motivated by what I felt like I could fit easily in a book bag or a suitcase. If you're wondering why I didn't just bring a ukulele or something, then I suppose that's valid. And by the way, I haven't ruled out the possibility of bringing a guitar pedal or two into this arrangement. I just figured I'd leave that out of this particular experiment, as I already know which of my pedals can run on batteries, and I'm not worried about any connectivity issues. Connectivity issues really being what I'm trying to solve in this experiment. That and establishing that everything can work together in general, especially when I'm using some brand new gear, like the MickXer and the Beatsplitter. When I ordered these from Myvolts, I'll admit I did it with some trepidation. Like others, I usually find myself preferring to order from outlets that I'm more familiar with. But they did not disappoint. The lengthy shipping is forgivable, considering their operation is in Europe. That being said, it would be great if some American vendors started selling their goods. I will likely order more from them in the future. Anyway, at this point, I'm sure you're wondering what we're going to be recording all of this on. After all, it has to be a mobile recording device, and I thought about many different options before I landed on this one. This is a Shoebox tape recorder. Let me try that again. This is a Shoebox tape recorder. This is a Shoebox tape recorder. And this is what I'm going to use to make the mobile recording setup possible. And that was me, not in narration mode. The Shoebox tape recorder is powered by 4 Type-C batteries. My decision to use a Shoebox tape recorder isn't exclusively an aesthetic one. I'll explore my reasoning further later on in the video. Anyway, this setup brings a lot of bits and pieces together, which means I'll have to do a certain amount of experimenting in order to familiarize myself with the arrangement. If you'd like to skip right to the music, you can jump to this part of the video. If you're sticking around, I'll spare you from the most obnoxious tedium and describe what's going on as it speeds along. Here I'm trying to get the Beatsplitter to interface as intended with the rest of the instruments. I had to do a certain amount of fiddling in order to get it doing what I wanted. After all, this is my first time using it. In case you're not familiar, the PO12 has a couple of synchronization options. What they do is send out a sync signal instead of an audio signal to either the left or the right channel of the output. If you don't split the signal, you end up hearing an incessant ticking noise in addition to, or instead of, your intended music. While a splitter cable can conceivably accommodate this task, I find the Beatsplitter to be a more elegant solution, and getting it set up correctly allows me to use the PO12 as the master clock for this whole arrangement. Oh, and all the music you're hearing right now is recorded directly off of the tape. thank you for joining me for that sonic exploration. All of the music you just heard was recorded off of the tape that you saw playing in the video. Pretty neat. But I have some notes I'd like to share. A new setup like this for me usually starts out as a diagram or a picture that I make while I'm kind of visualizing what I'm trying to do. In this case, when I did that, I found myself needing to acquire a couple of new things: the Beatsplitter and the MickXer. I found the convenience of the MickXer being passive and also fader-free as interesting as you might imagine. I was constantly adjusting the volume knobs on my instruments to try to establish my intended levels. I'm fascinated by this mixing experience. There's almost a compressor-like nature to it. It felt like as one sound decayed, another would jump into its place. I suppose the Shoebox tape recorder could also be contributing to this effect. I'm honestly finding myself wondering how a passive mixer works. If anybody would like to explain it to me in the comments, that would be pretty cool. I'm honestly excited by the possibilities presented by exploring such a unique and interesting sonic landscape. I promised I was going to get back to my decision in using the Shoebox tape recorder. Naturally, I spent a bit of time researching different ways to accomplish the setup, and in doing so I found different viable options, and there are definitely easier avenues I could have taken. One that I considered was the Tascam Portacapture, which has several line inputs in addition to microphones, an SD card memory, and a built-in mixer. This would have been an easy option, and I kind of want one anyway for sampling stuff out in the wild, but at $370 it seemed pretty steep, and I don't want to break the bank. I also considered the Zoom H6 for similar reasons. I actually like the interface on this one a bit more too. I thought long and hard about getting a Roland Go Mixer Pro, which has a couple of 1/4" and a couple of 1/8" inputs. It essentially turns your phone into the whole deal, which would actually save me the time of syncing video to audio and has usability well beyond this particular use case. I actually think I want to get one of these eventually too, as I can't imagine an easier way to make quick, jam videos. Ultimately, I landed on the tape recorder for one reason, and one reason alone. I remembered my dad having one. I remembered this and I asked him about it, and what sort of I/O it had, and if he'd be interested in sending it to me. After teasing me with some funny videos, he sent it, and I much appreciated. I found an old box of tapes for a steal in Bensonhurst. After that, I honestly built the rest of the setup around the tape recorder. I'm loving the character it adds to recordings. And, naturally, it's analog, which I totally dig. I'll get to have physical documentation of this project. I'm loving watching this come together. I hope you are too. Sharing projects like this on YouTube makes doing them even more fun. And if you're the kind of person who watches videos like this, then I think you're pretty cool. Are you someone who's made a mobile synthesizer setup for busking or something? Are you someone who thinks that finding creative solutions to invented problems is interesting? Or maybe you hate leaving the confines of your room. Fair enough. Maybe you think videos like this are convoluted, confusing, sort of thrown together and annoying. Well, you should leave a comment. I'm genuinely interested in what you're thinking and what you have to say. And if you're up for it, like or subscribe.